What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of UOT Radio podcast. Yes, this is a socially conscious podcast that looks at the issues that affect Ugandans online across all social media platforms. And it's your host, Kella Mckenzie, as usual. Today, I have a very special guest. He's a mentor, he's a legend in the industry. I've learned a lot from working with him and, listening to him back in the day while I was in school. Now I'm making him feel old, but here's the one and only Mackenzie.
The guy intro is just, I'm an old guy. Glad to be here, Queen. This should be fun. I'm excited to be a part of the podcast. This is what I do. I'm a radio guy, so this feels good. I feel at home, so thank you for having me.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about single fathers. I kind of have a personal experience with this because I was raised by my dad. So in my defense, I always feel like men are not appreciated more. I mean, a man stepping up and taking on the nurturing role, it's not easy. I mean, to women it might come easy, but to the men, this is something you have to continuously learn and work upon and make sure you provide everything that your child needs. So I want to ask you, as a single father, how have you found that experience so far?
Thanks. On my side, I think opposite to you, I was raised by a woman fully. So I think over the time that I've been, with my child, almost single-handedly raising him on the physical level, it has been very fruitful for me because I've learned so much about myself. I've learned so much about how I am involved in his life and what impact I have in his life and my mannerisms and how I was raised. So for me, it has been quite an adventurous experience. I honestly would never, ever, ever take it back. So when you say like for women, it is easier. I think for me, the way I've learned it is that I think the motherly love is always feminine, like it comes in the feminine shape, and it's because it's so nurturing and it's educational wise and stuff like that. And then when it comes to the fatherly vibe, it comes from the masculine world, which is more provisional and protection driven. And luckily for me, being raised by a woman, naturally do I have, of course, the masculine vibe in me? I do, but also the feminine has been risen so high that I have that nurturing ability. I'm able to educate. I'm able to still provide and protect. So is it heavier on me? Yes, it is. But I think for life in general, the balance is needed. So for me, it has been really an adventurous experience. Seeing my son, super alpha male, he has no feminine blood in him. Like, he's not that natural. He's not that educated like I am. So I have to kind of sometimes feel like maybe I need to soften him a little bit. And then there's those cuddles on the couch. And it's just a bit weird. To be honest with you, there's no one who can say that they're a professional parent. But personally, it's been so much of learning day in, day out.
Okay, quite something beautiful right there. So, being raised by a single father, I do have a little bit of those qualities, but I can admit that I've been raised more of like a tomboy than I guess most women around town. You'll find that I work harder. I do a lot of sports. I'm a basketball fan, heavy. I love rugby. Like if it were up to me and this weight could just increase itself and go and represent Uganda. But I think as a female, as a single father, looking in, like being in that world, do you think girls need like both parents more? Or I don't know how to phrase it very well, but do you think every child probably needs both their parents to succeed?
Yeah, definitely. In my case, my son has both parents, so it's not like he has only one. Just that one is living in a different country. And I've learned that it's not about a child having both parents. It's about a child having parents who are both involved in their own capacities. So like if you have a mom, can she play the role of mom? If you have a dad, can they play the role of dad? And if they can do it really well, it will balance you out. most of the girls that I've met that have been raised by their dads, majority of them have issues with adding on weight. And I do not know honestly why. Their metabolism is really high. And it's because when you're raised by a man, you have a more physical approach to life. You have a more, like you say, you're a grinder. You know, you are about, let me show up at work very early, let me work. I don't care how long I do this, as long as I get results. So you're results driven. And when it comes to the girls that are raised by women, majority of the times they're the ones who be like, I need to look good at work. Why don't we have enough this at work? Why don't we? Because they are more of being taken care of, and they have a softer side to them. So they even think a little bit more before they ask for like an increment. But for the girls who are raised by boys, they don't give, like, you need to give me increment. Like, they don't fear the boss. So I think like when you have both, then you understand, like at work it's a bit easier to know, okay, I assert myself, but then I take care of self as well. I was very, very, very lucky to be raised by a Muchiga woman personally, because what happens with a Muchiga woman is that she's basically a man and a woman in one, and they will force you to do what is physical, but as well they will have that very nurturing, that loving, compassionate thing. So when someone meets me, they know that I am a go-getter, and I will definitely get what I'm supposed to get. I'll assert myself at any given moment, but I'm also not like the person who is all about working. I care so much about what people feel. I care, so I think for me, the idea of having both parents, yeah, but physically just having both parents is not enough. I think they need to be involved in their capabilities so that they can give a child, I don't even know if it's a balance, but an opportunity for them to choose what balance is to them. So that I think my son would definitely benefit a lot if I was with a mother and we're like maybe staying together. But you see, like for example, the mother of my child was raised by a dad and I was raised by a mom. When you see the way she treats the boy, she's more authoritative and I am more guidance driven. It's really weird, but that's just how it is. So sometimes I tell her, you know what? Actually, I think you're the father of this child. Me, I'm the mother. And we laugh about it. But it's just a way that we have been learning that, okay, this is who I am. And, so I think it's important to be a parent fully blown in. And if you do not have your support partner, like if you're a man and you don't have a woman, you should be able to not just go all out in your own emotions and just based on your identity as a man. You should be able to know that the child needs mother love with or without the mother. And how you provide that is a sacrifice. It is a lot of learning. Personally, I had to quit my job. And when you quit I was on radio for a very long time and I was always telling everyone I'm going to do radio till I die. But the time I quit my job, everyone is wondering what's going on with me. There was a time I was literally offline for like about 6 months. And some people thought I was dead, or maybe I was just about to commit suicide or something. But it was a case of, I've seen so many women who quit their jobs just to go and take care of their child. Or maybe they quit their job after they give birth and they realize they cannot have a maid taking care of their kid. Like, that's how some women or some mothers take on some things. And there are other mothers who give birth to a child and they will leave the child in some school, some nursery school, starting from the age of 6 months. And they just go back to work. Like, all they care about is work. And so I think I have a very strong feminine side to me that is really nurturing, and I am so blessed to have gotten that from my mom. I believe that's what has happened to me.
Oh wow, I know there was a lot of information in there, and he actually even kind of hinted on my next kind of question. A lot of men agree that times have changed. A lot of the qualities people look for in a partner are changing. A lot of women are money driven. A lot of men are, sex driven. And, as a parent right now, what are some of those qualities you'd recommend that whoever wants to start a family should look at before they venture into this?
I think parenthood is purely love, and love is not as easy as just giving what you have. It's giving what the other person needs, and love is help. Love is provision. Love is caring beyond your own self. And I think if someone wants to be a parent and they're dying to be a parent, don't do it because you want to have a child. Do it because you are ready to provide for someone beyond you, someone who is going to be more important than your own feelings. And that is really tough for so many people to actually accept. that many of the girls that I have met in my life that have given birth, they tell you that they have never felt love more than when they saw that child for the first time. Like their entire life experience changed the moment they saw the child and they were in their arms, because they immediately realized that if I'm not there, something is going to happen to this child. If I walk away, something will eat this child. If I do this. So like from ancient times, I think the reason that's why, like for example, Adam and Eve, I'm so sorry by the way, I'm one of those weirdos, so I'll keep going different areas. But like Adam, okay. The reason that's why Eve was easily approached by a serpent. Some people believe that Eve was more conscious about life, and when you're more conscious about life, you literally take everything serious. Like every little thing that comes to you, you take it a bit more serious. So by the time the serpent comes to you, you are, number one, afraid of the serpent itself, because you're trying to protect. So you're the first person who even gets to see the serpent. So it's not like Adam couldn't see it. Adam was going to just stomp on it. But Eve is going to think twice about it. It's going to be a bit manipulated, even in many ways, because that's the way it goes. It's almost equivalent to a mother who has a child, and the child is crying from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. But this woman cannot grab this child and throw the child off a cliff. Still has to kind of like take their own mentality out of it and just be like, this, whatever this child needs, I'm going to provide. There's something really strong about femininity and motherhood that I feel someone should not just get into it to have nice, cute pictures and to have matching outfits with your baby girl and to just be part of society as someone who has a child, or to look for a purpose by giving birth to a child, or to beat that deadline of the clock is ticking, or to, it shouldn't be that. I like what Naomi Campbell recently did, giving birth to a child at the age of 50. I'm like, at least she knows, like she has experienced everything. So I'm really excited about that women today are taking charge of this fact that I'm not going to have a child ever. I like that, because you realize you're not capable, or you realize that if I do get a child, my life is over, because they know what it takes to actually have that kid. So I like the fact that there is that. And then I also have some of my friends who just want to feel the earth. Like I have some friends of mine who say, I want to have 6 kids, and you're like, why? Me, I think I want 6 kids. And you're like, yo, listen, I have 1 kid, and there's a lot that you have to go through with 1 kid. So if you want to be a parent, I think you detach from just your own identity as a human. You have to look at it from the point of almost your life is over, and you're creating a new life that is going to completely be designed about protecting, providing, nurturing, and educating this new human you're brought to life.
Oh, wow. Personally, I'm still living on 50-50 about getting a kid and getting married. I'm one of those, I'll show up as the rich auntie at every function. But yeah, I definitely do agree. I don't know, it's a lot, but yeah, he said everything.
There's the aspect that some people don't want to have kids, and they say, I never want to have a kid. And I'm like, right now, that's what you feel. There's shifts in dimensions of us as humans, and I feel like when I was 14, I knew when I would get married. I was so sure of the day I would get married and how many kids I would have. The time I turned 16, I was like, shit, that was a lie. I don't think that's going to happen. When I was in my senior 6 at school, I told my friends I'm going to come back here when I'm 25 and I'll have 2 kids. When I was 20, I had a girlfriend and we were cohabiting at the age of 20, let me tell you. And I was so sure that we're going to have 4 kids and get married at the age of 23. Boom, I get a child at 22 with a woman that I'm not with, and life flips. And I'm always like, just don't say never. Like I wrote this on my Twitter and someone said, sure, I will say never when the time comes, and I'll say, okay, now I've changed my mind. I'm like, for peace of mind, for you to have a peaceful today, not thinking and worrying about if you need kids or anything, like just enjoy the fact that you don't have kids today. It's not easy. It's just not easy, just enjoy that you don't have kids today. Look at what other people are going through, so that if you ever make a decision, it is based on the fact that I know it is okay to be alone without a child. So if I'm going to have a child, then I have a reason to do that. I have a stronger reason than me just trying to have a kid. I find it very dangerous I had a maid who was staying with me, and I was taking care of this girl like she was my daughter almost, and I was just helping her every day. If you want to go to tailoring school, I would do that. If you want to go and learn how to do saloon and stuff like that, I would do that. I will help you as long as you stay home and you do what you're supposed to do in the times that I need you to do that. She got to a point and she was bored. She's like, I don't know. She's like, this boyfriend of mine has been calling me. I'm like, why? First of all, why do you have a boyfriend at this moment? And I couldn't stop that because her emotions are just her emotions. And she kept telling me, my boyfriend wants to take me to this place. I don't know, because now I was taking her like a daughter, so she felt like she could tell me whatever it is. And by the time I told her, I will need to meet your boyfriend, and she brought this border guy. And I'm like, wait, I'm not saying border guys cannot necessarily like do the job, but like you are staying in my house. You are running around with Bryan Sabiiti, who has a child, has a house that is really okay, is taking care of you, doing everything. If you really need a husband, if you need something, first get yourself together. Like first have something that is yours, because you already have some system that is going for you. Unfortunately, she did not take that advice. Right now, she has a child and she's living in Mukono, and she's always asking me for 20Ks. And I'm like, if only you had listened. But it's also tough to tell someone, I told you so. It's just like, okay, I'll help you with the 20K. But I feel like a lot of people need to not jump into that thing just impulsively. Like you need to have reason to get into that world. So I get where you come from being a rich auntie. I have so many of my friends who want to be rich aunties, and I'm like, it's okay, just give the money to my son. I don't have a problem with you being a rich auntie. But the day you say, okay, now it's time to be a rich mom, it shouldn't also be a problem. Like it shouldn't be a big deal, but you have a reason. Like you have the strong conviction that I know what it means to be a rich auntie, and I know what my friends have been going through as moms, so it's my time. But I will do it in this way, in that way, in this way. And it's much more fulfilling even for the child knowing that, my mom took her time. She did not get me just to use me to feel good and important around the family. It was for me, for her to give birth to me. I think that would be awesome if you were the kid. So yeah, do that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to follow that to the dot. So as we wind up this episode, I want to go a little bit into the legal part of things. Do you think our government or our legal system is doing enough to protect single fathers?
Man, I don't know. I also think it's the same thing as saying, rape of men. Is it something being helped? I have friends who have been raped by, situations. I don't. It's so weird to say I have friends who have been raped by women. That just sounds weird, but it's the truth. I know of experiences. I, at some point in my life, had something close to that happened to me. I was sexually abused when I was 7 years old by a maid. And so I have never talked about it. A lot of my friends will tell you that their first encounter was with a maid. I feel like there is a society setting that has made it seem like it's okay for men to suffer, and because they can handle it, and for some reason, because society has made it that way, the men have evolved to actually being okay with suffering. And they have also come to the point that suffering is part of their way around life. So, for example, you find that a man will take care of a child, but will not go on Twitter and say, man, this woman is a deadbeat mom. Never say that, because I can't be a sissy, I have to just do my thing. But a woman would easily come out and say he's a deadbeat dad. So there's this thing that I think that I've seen for a while now, which is a point of rights and responsibility. And I think with men, it has always been about responsibility. We're being told as Ugandan men since the day you are born, you have to be this, you have to do that. And for girls, you have to look like this to be that. And it's like for women, all they have been taught, and it's not like that's what they have to do or that's who they are, but majority of the Ugandan women, they're being told to be humble and you'll get through life. And the men, they're telling them, jump off the cliff and you'll enjoy life. It's like, does that make sense though?
No, it doesn't.
It's like, it's so strange for so many men today that I know that are taking care of their kids and they will never complain. out in public. They'll complain among us. They'll be like, man, my woman is this and stuff like that. But they would never come out and complain in public because it's a society norm. It's a society setting. You know, men don't run to the police and say, I've been raped. But you go to a man and you tell him, I've been raped by a woman. Because the man in that office is the one who's receiving your report. You feel a bit weird to even say that because the man will be like, shit, you didn't enjoy. And it's a bit strange. In my case, I have never, ever bothered to go to courts of law to say I need custody of my child. I've never gone through that. It has always been understanding between me, the mother of my child, and her parents to be able to know that I can take care of this child. And I've had to show that I can. So I've had to make money. I've had to share money. I've had to make my kid, come out strong for them to realize that I'm responsible. And I think that is the circumstance that people like me can handle, but unfortunately not other men are able to do so. So I don't know how hard it is. I've seen this young girl, Felista, the superstar, the rapper. She's literally walking around with the dad each and every single place. I have had no one come out and say, where's the mom? No, I've never had anyone come out and say, where's the mom? And it's a case of, okay, are we okay with this girl being raised by the dad, or is the dad taking on the responsibility? I don't care about if the mom is there or not, So it's really a case of not being a victim, but being part of the circumstances of society's norms. And many of the men are just living with it. I don't think the laws in Uganda will help per se. They could be there to help you, but when you go to court and you tell the court that this man they will immediately just sanction the man to pay you like 200K per month. It's a bit easier to go to FIDA as a woman than to go there as a man. That's what I have experienced, at least for my friends. But me as an individual, I always go for responsibility over rights, because I feel responsibility also helps you not only just take care of a kid, but also just go through life in different ways. You end up demanding for what is yours, and that is what a kid needs.
Oh wow! I can actually agree with some of the things you said.
What don't you agree with? Tell me.
I guess what I don't agree with is men bottling up everything, because personally, I saw my father break down each and every day because
in public.
Sometimes in public, sometimes at home. He'd resort to drinking, and that is even one of the reasons why I don't drink. Like, I've seen this man go from being Uganda's top accountant to just being a guy just, doing stupid things on Kabalagala, and I'm like, okay, this is the man who is supposed to be my father. You pass through the border guys and like, hey, see this guy, he drank so much last time, he did this to himself, he started saying this, and you don't want to be the person who is there like, okay, that is my father. You're going to be like, oh wait, I think I need to distance myself away from this. And it puts you in a position as a child where you're like, okay, I never want to be around this ever in my life. It traumatizes you, and you end up making some decisions that might negatively affect you as a child. Like, as the parents, they'll continue living their life, they've made their money, they're living in their mansions, and they're happy with it. They don't understand how their decisions and some of these things they hold back from the public affect their children in the long run. So I don't know if there is a way of the government coming in, or maybe men forming their own support groups.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, and I'm really, really, really sorry that that's unfortunately it happens in life, and it's not like you are pretty much a statistic of so many other young friends of mine who I've seen go through the same thing. I've seen, especially alcohol has really messed up so many families. And when you think about it, it's mostly the men that go through this. Women, for some reason, they will always look for another man and just run away or something. But this is the case. And maybe just to give you an explanation, it's not a case of I know it all and I've handled it all. With my child, I've had to go through drug addiction. I've had to go through sedation moments. I've had suicidal thoughts myself. I've had to bottle up so many things. I had a very big misunderstanding with my baby mama, and for almost 6 months she was abusing me on Twitter, including Father's Day, telling me how I am an asshole, I'm a deadbeat dad, I am not capable, and these things, whether you like it or not, they eat you up. But again, we're not the guys who run on Twitter and say, what the hell are you talking about? And then there's all that. I cannot go to court and I say this and stuff like that. She has done this to me. Because again, it goes back to bottling it up. It goes back to you being responsible for your own mistakes. It goes back to the society looking at you like you're now a wasted person, because they don't look at you like a victim. They don't look at you like someone who is part of the people that needs to be helped. They look at you like you have wasted your time. And that's why I say so many men who get into those zones, when a man becomes a drunkard, it's hard for them to find another woman. It's really hard. But when a woman, recently someone said that a woman can be lame. She can have only one leg and one arm and maybe one eye, but she'll be valued in society compared to a man who has almost every limb. Sometimes, in many cases, that's what happens, because a woman has a lot more to offer to society, according to people, just as her as a woman, than a man just being as a man. Because a man has to actually do a lot more to get respect and to be taken seriously.
That's true.
So, is it a stereotype? Yes, it is. Is it me saying it? It's just a fact. It's not my opinion. It's a case of men are bottling a lot of shit up and it's killing them. It's ravaging society. There's a lot of fatherless generations that have raised up, that have grown up. Personally, I lost my dad before I was born, but my mom did not ever go that route of being a deadbeat woman or a deadbeat mom or whatever. But I know men who were in her life that wanted her, and she'd be like, you're not worthy compared to my dead husband. So it was a case of my mom taking on responsibility over just rights, to say, I need a man who can take care of this, But most men have become crazy. They beat their women. There's a lot that goes on in a man's mind when it comes to responsibility that you can't even imagine. And I'm very, very okay with the fact that the law should come and help. I am okay that we need to have a fathers' union.
Yeah. Okay,
but I'm not joining that fathers' union, and I will tell you why. Because that fathers' union, whichever way it is, it should be more educative than fighting for rights and going out there and removing underwear in front of. No. It should be a case of us just learning that we need to take responsibility. We need to be upfront. You need to actually design your own life, because that's what your child depends on. Not only your child, but your wife, your family. You are responsible for all that, and it's unfortunate that that's how the setting is. But that's what you have to do to keep around Uganda.
Wow. I hope someone who is listening in can give us some solutions, or probably this shut down Mckenzie and say, no, we need the fathers' union and you're the leader. Probably even make the ID immediately you listen to this. But as we wind up this episode of UOT Radio, I want to say, it's been a pleasure having you on this show. You've really dropped a lot of gems as usual. I'm always inspired every time I listen to you. You educate me and inspire me to be a better woman, but a better member of society, and actually treat men a lot more better than I used to, because I know some exes are listening in. But as we wind up, I know there's a lot we have to say. There's a lot to discuss about this. Where do you think people can try and get more information about this?
Gladly, thank you for this platform. Gladly, I will be starting my podcast, the Kella Mckenzie podcast, and I've been working on this for a very long time. I work with Talent Africa, so obviously we have a production team. You're like, let me use the production team, but then I realized that I need to actually take responsibility of my own dreams. I need to be full hand. I mean, look, you're doing this and I'm not doing it, so I'm thinking I should also jump in, and I'm hopefully going to come up with a very great education platform as Kella Mckenzie, because Kella Mckenzie is both Kella Mckenzie, like wake up in the morning, but also rise up with Kella. I'll be doing this weekly, and it will have a lot of these kind of conversations. It's very unlimited, very unfiltered, uncensored, and it's a case for us to teach our social icons how things can run. I want to host Stingy Men's Association and explain to them why this is such a stupid association. Not that you should not save your money, but you should not be stingy with it, because when you're stingy with it, it's because you do not know why you have it. And there's a lot that we need to educate people about this, and so many other things. There's really a lot that I think my generation needs to learn, and I'm excited about this podcast that comes out. You can actually click on www.kellamckenzie.com and you can just book your slot in there to just get ready for this release to come out. I'll have new merch coming out real soon, so you can be able to support me so that I keep the podcast running. So yeah, all that is coming through this June. I'll be celebrating 8 years of Kella, so I'm excited for that. Thank you for this.
Oh wow. Yeah, you had it all from Mckenzie. Make sure you do check out his podcast, because I mean, from this discussion, you do not want to miss out on a single thing he has, any guest that shows up to his show. Trust me, you're going to learn a lot. And if you're a parent, if you're a child, you're a teenager out there and you're trying to figure out this whole grown-up business, definitely tune in. So what are your last words?
My last words is, Queen, you need to get a husband. Let me tell you guys something. This girl is beautiful, very intelligent, hardworking, but not just only that. I think you don't need necessarily a husband. I think they need you, you know? They need to come to you need to come to their rescue. So filter out your shit and get that legit person. I think you deserve a lot of that as well. I'm really grateful to be friends with you in the sense of I have seen you work your way from the bottom to the top. You're willing to learn, but you're also not willing to just take any bullshit. So that's like an ingredient of what a pure woman should be in society. You do have a lot of care for what people think, but you also have your own assertions in what society should be like, and I think that's the balance that we need. So I'm really grateful that actually you're able to put this out there without fear or favor. Do I think you need to have more conversations about childhood? Yes, I think it helps a lot more. I think people need to have more of these conversations. I think you need to have more podcasts with people who have experienced the same things you've experienced, because we need people like you to shine a light on so many people who are facing the same things you faced, and yet you have a platform to, I don't know, maybe vent or explain or come out and, showcase what it is. Otherwise, the podcast is dope. Shout out to UOT Radio. Editing live. Blessings.
Oh wow. Okay. First and foremost, in case you want to get married to me, or you feel like you have this burning desire to have me in your life, make sure you go to UOT Radio. That is at UOT Radio on our social media platforms, and just say man, woman. I need you in my house. Or you can actually go through Kella Mckenzie, since he's my mentor, and actually go to www.kellamckenzie.com and send in your proposal, your marriage proposal.
It should happen.
And my people will call your people and settle it. But it's really been a pleasure having you on this episode. And I appreciate everything. You keep teaching me. You never get tired of correcting me. I know I'm a pain. But
pain. No.
through that pain we get to learn, and through the mistakes that we make that I make, I get to grow as a person, and I really thank you for that. Yeah, man, you guys, haven't you gotten tired of listening to us? We're signing out. Make sure you follow us. Peace.